Leading small groups that thrive, or small groups that thrive?
Leading small groups that thrive. Yeah.
Leading small. Okay, everyone should check it out. I mean, I'm already interested. So,
Yeah.
I mean, let's start there because I think it's interesting. I mean, it's pretty new. So, what were, I don't know, in your mind, what are some of the highlights from the just the research you did and the interviews you did with members and leaders? Like, if you could give someone the cliff notes, what would be, a few of those highlights?
It definitely won't give away the whole book, but I'll just say what was really impactful for me and for what we are trying to do here at Eastview, because again, it really impacted our own ministry along the way too. And it was, some of these things are pretty, when you hear them, you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But to implement them is another thing, right? So one of those is that every group not only needs to have a defined purpose, but it's got to be external, outside of themselves. And some ministries really handle this really well from a cultural spot, but a lot of folks are like, okay, we can get people together, we can gather them, and they might even grow, but we miss the Great Commission, which is to go and take what we're learning with us wherever we go as we go. And so the research really just pushed that to the surface. Like Frank, if your small group can say, hey, we exist because we want our families to grow, we want to disciple our families, but we also want to impact the families in our neighborhood, or we want to impact the families at Grove Elementary, whatever the closest school is to you guys. That has that external push. And as you do that, then that internally it helps your group grow actually 2 to 3 times more over the long haul. And so you actually, as you focus outward, you grow inward. And again, that's not rocket science, but to get that into action is something that helps. It can be a shift kind of in focus along the way.
How did you, maybe a question or two on each of these as you throw them out, like how were groups doing that? Or what did you hear as you were talking to folks about like how they practically make that, just real in their groups' day-to-day lives?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I personally think there's a lot of creativity that comes with this. Certainly it's got to have intentionality and genuineness. But so some ministries really already kind of create that for folks. Like, hey, we partner with these 4 organizations within our community. And we've opened the door and here's the pathway for groups to walk on. And so that's actually pretty clear and clean for the most part. I mean, there's some work that ministry folks can do on that. But there are a lot of folks that kind of left that up to each group to really say, who are the people and who are the places? That's the language I like to use. Who are the people and places around you that you can directly impact, that you have a connection with at least a couple of days a week, or you have, it doesn't take too much of a reach to get to them. And so some people, some churches really focus on schools because most kids go to a school, or even if they're homeschooled or even a private school, there's a community that's there that can be supported. Some people would latch on to a local organization, whether it's a food bank or whether it's homeless shelter. Those are a lot of the things that kind of rose up. What we found then, even through the pandemic, as we were kind of promoting books and just hearing from folks, is there are so many needs that arose, very specific, tangible needs, a family that's in need. So you could adopt a family that's very specific, but it creates a journey and a relationship. And so that you kind of get that spectrum of opportunities. But really, at the end of the day, it's just about being aware of what's around you and who's around you.